When the NBA playoffs arrived, every game, every possession, and one memorable stat line can help the most average of role player secure multi-year bags. It's where role players become legends, unexpected risers getting their numbers retired in the rafters, reputations forever cemented, but for many players entering free agency, it's the biggest moments of their careers. A dominant playoffs can turn a no-namer into a near $100 million player overnight. Just ask Bismack Biyombo after his unforgettable one game against the Cavs 2016 conference finals, or Jerome Big Snacks James only motivated to ball out against his former team, leading to the foolish Isaiah Thomas giving him bank in the Big Apple. I made a video a few years back, shared on the link below. The opposite could also be true. One bad playoffs can cost a guy sometimes even $100 or $200 million deals. Despite their regular season success, all that could be erased in just a couple weeks under the bright lights, leaving front offices questioning whether those players worth the investment. We've seen it time and again with these playoff collapses, starting with Detroit's very own Jalen Duren 2026. Alongside De'Aaron Fox and Chet Holmgren, the biggest absolute travesties of last playoffs. Maybe the worst player all decade to make All-NBA, still just 22 years old, the former third team pick in the 22 draft came off a monster regular season, numbers of nearly 20 and 11, astonishing 65% shooting, had all the energy and hype as the second best player on a 60-win team, but absolutely got manhandled, demolished, obliterated first round by Orlando's Wendell Carter Jr. From getting dunked on, his collapse looked like Roy Hibbert 2.0, blowing layup after layup, had a massive opportunity to redeem his struggles, Game 7 home game against ultimate choker James Harden, and yet Durham nowhere to be found. A putrid 7 points, 3 of 7 shooting, 26 minutes, blown out by 31, never scored more than 15 points in 14 of his playoff games. His 9.4 point drop off from regular season to playoffs, the second biggest all time, only behind Will Chamberlain, who went from averaging 50 points to 35. Durham gives Detroit too much headache on what's his proper value, absolutely nowhere near the $300 million contract he wants. His performance might just end any chance Detroit has in contending for a title. Any big men not named Wemby, Karl Towns, Jokic, or Embiid will always be a hard sell going for the max. Even Chet Holmgren had his issues, and he's way better than Duren. For a player who can't create for himself, there's no words that can describe his awfulness. Got outplayed by backup Paul Reed several times, constantly loses the ball, straight up looked like he was drawing away games Terry Rozier style, locked up by Jared Allen.
We want to win, we got to get every rebound. You contest the shot, leak out, right? You got to stay in and get the rebound. Ain't no way Donovan Mitchell gets the rebound over you.
When your franchise center lacks effort, there's no chance in hell they deserve anywhere close to the max, especially in the apron era. Being in a similar situation to 2021 DeAndre Ayton, balling out with an elite playmaker but lacks effort, the max contract for Phoenix became the beginning of the end for the disgraceful #1 pick, and now Ayton might be out the league after his tenure with the Lakers, wanting $40 to $50 million a year. No GM would pay Durham that type of money. Became so trash to the point made Tobias Harris became the team's second scoring option. Those stupid fouls, way too careless. Many easily judge a book by its cover with his crazy physiques, but what good are the looks without the skills? Durham these playoffs, simply the best version of Charles Barkley losing his touch in Space Jam. The biggest question going forward, whether Detroit considers a sign-in trade. People love to yap about how much better players are today than 2-3 decades ago, but when you got guys like Jalen Duren making an All-NBA team 2026, are the players really that much better? Ty Jerome 2025 got absolutely humiliated, embarrassed, torch, and no longer relevant. Many already forgot what team he's even on. Got 3 years, $28 million when talked about in the $100 million range once upon a time. Too many regular season players got exposed come playoff time. Jerome one of those. Undrafted out of UVA. His career hanging on the ropes. Before an impressive 12.5 point average, 20 minutes a bench guy, even finished third place for 6 man. The type of player to look like a terrific backup wing with a nice shot and handles. dominated on the 64-win team, even had a 33-point game, went 8 of 8 from 3 in the January contest. Just like Durham, had Jerome been hurt and unable to suit up for the playoffs, he probably would have gotten a full-year, $80 million deal. Was in the conversation for best backup guard, mastered the floater game as well as anybody, absolutely balled out against a weak 8-seeded Miami Heat team under zero pressure, and looked decent game 1 against the Pacers, finished with 21 points, 8 assists without Darius Garland, a series that changed his career for the worse, but had too many flaws, struggled under pressure. Indiana exposed his lack of burst, got blocked 5 times in that game. Jerome sadly lost his entire reputation, overshadowing his terrific regular season, putting up tragic stinkers, 2 points, 1 of 14 shooting game 2, played 28 minutes, got abused by the better Tyrese Halliburton, who drained the game winner right in his face. Kenny Atkinson will forever regret having Jerome on defense that late in an important game. Followed with 2 points, 1 of 8 game 3, played just 13 minutes. When Darius Garland came back, Jerome, a non-factor in a 22-point blowout win, somehow managed to finish a minus 15 for the game. Couldn't even get back on track in garbage time. Followed that, going 2 of 3 game 4, completely manhandled, picked up heavily, got exposed and targeted on defense. Game 5 led to the final blow, looked sharp for a few minutes, dropped a quick 6 points, but as he was getting his rhythm together, hunted relentlessly on D, even had Tyrese Halliburton blowing by him and dunking, got stuffed by Hallie, shamed and bullied like he didn't belong out there, while guys like Andrew Nembhard, not great in the regular season, performed much better in the playoffs. Jerome missed his first 46 games this past season for Memphis with a calf strain, played 15 contests, averaged 19.7 points, empty stats, 3 wins, 12 losses, will continue balling out on many regular season games, but who knows when he'll get the chance to play real playoff minutes again. Klay Thompson 2024, who hasn't recovered after going 0 of 10 in the play-in loss to Sacramento, ending the Splash Brothers era once and for all. On the final year of a 5-year $190 million max, acquired for just 3 years $50 million after Dallas made the finals, Klay wanted to play with Luka. Little did the 34-year-old know Doncic was going to get traded, leaving him in no man's land. Golden State did everything to take care of their future Hall of Famer, despite the torn ACL followed by the Achilles. To come back the way he did, nothing short of remarkable, but not realizing he wasn't the same guy, refusing to accept his decline. There's a reason why GM Bob Myers stepped down, not allowing himself to ruin his relationship with players. Expecting to get another big contract somewhere between 60 to 100 million was never going to be allowed by Golden State, especially with his 2023 absolute travesty playoff stinker against the Lakers. Klay not the type of player the current Mavs need with Cooper Flagg. Now at the twilight of his career, things not looking good. Tobias Harris 2024, not a total terrible deal. If he balled out the way he did this past postseason 2 years ago, would have gotten another $100 million plus contract easily, but 2 years 52, not the worst thing in the world. For somebody who scored 0 points in 29 minutes, elimination game 6, became known as the most overpaid player for years, especially never making the All-Star team. Philly still regrets giving him the bag to this day. At the time, made the same annual cost as Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Deuce McBride, $41 million combined total. That's why New York easily beat his Sixers. The soon-to-be 34-year-old put up solid numbers of 13.5 points, being the starting power forward for 2 seasons on a good Pistons squad. To be fair, Harris did exceed expectations, balled out these past playoffs, stepping up for the lackadaisical Jalen Duren, had a 30-point Game 7 win over Orlando, netted 20 plus in 8 straight games before having stinkers Game 6 and 7 versus Cleveland. He's only as good as a second round appearance, but getting another year older will be looked upon as a 6th man after next season. Getting a 2-year $30 million deal or 3 years $50, most realistic and fair price going forward. D'Angelo Russell 2023, Mr. Classic multi-year journeyman, hated out the league, was balling out early till the Denver series, became the worst player on the floor, failed to show up when needed most. Not like his Lakers were gonna win that series, but at least getting a game or 2 would have been nice. Signed 2 years $37 million after when looking for another big contract. The erratic number 2 pick never improved his flaws, been the same player he's always been. It's a miracle how he remained the Laker for another year and a half after the conference final disaster. Balled out throughout the Memphis Golden State series. Russell embarrassed himself, got outplayed by Bruce Brown, averaged an awful 6.3 points, 32% from the field, and unplayable 23.5 minutes, totally exposed when his jumper's not falling, loses aggressiveness in every part of his game, lacks focus, diminished confidence, plus being the worst defender on the floor never helps. The bigger, more physical Nuggets bothered him, getting outplayed heavily by teammates Austin Reeves and Dennis Schroeder. Now as he's gotten older, continues to get slower, no longer a good backup, turnover machine, never adapted playing off ball, not a good vet, even his Tank Commander days appear to be over. Overseas, the most likely scenario going forward. Malik Beasley 2023 officially indicted for his point shaving crimes. Many already forgotten his 2023 Laker crimes involved in the D'Lo Russ trade. The only useful Laker to come out of that deal, Jared Vanderbilt, played 26 games to average a subpar 11 points on 35% from deep, one of the rare times in his career couldn't hit a 3. If he balled out like his usual self, would have gotten somewhere in the 4-year $60 million range, but ended up with 1 year $2 million for the Bucks, became totally useless in the playoffs, played just garbage time, became a legit starter for 2024 Milwaukee, exceeded expectations, led to the Pistons signing, investigated 2025, went overseas, his image forever ruined by the gambling charges, has nobody to blame but himself for his despicable actions. When offered 3 years $42, later rescinded when facing investigations. One of the dumbest, if not the dumbest player the NBA has seen all decade. Andre Drummond 2021. Things were never the same after that classic meme. The Lakers then lost 3 straight to the Suns when getting the benefit of the doubt, stealing Marc Gasol's minutes. By the time he fell out the rotation, middle of the Phoenix series, Vogel instantly regretted his decision. The reason he chose the Lakers, getting promised the starting role, averaged 9 and 11, but ineffective, had no outside shot till his career was hitting rock bottom, proceeded to sign a 1-year minimum with Brooklyn. Going from a 9-figure max guy to a vet minimum, Drummond did learn his lesson, became a solid backup ever since, still elite on the glass. The Lakers were so desperate, they signed back Dwight Howard after letting Drummond walk. Enes Kanter 2021, shortly out the NBA after. To this day, Freedom will always claim his time in the league ended due to political reasons. He might be half right, but when you're a role player who can't play a lick of D, it's easy to replace you. His second to last season, averaged 11 and 11 as a 6-man candidate, was solid 2019 playoffs, but 2 years later, Jokic literally in conversation as best player. Having Kanter on him was not going to end well. Became limited due to the matchup, 11 minutes off the bench, averaged a whopping 2 and 2. It was all Dame Lillard and CJ doing the carry job. Kanter couldn't even back up Yusuf Nurkic properly. Later signed a 1-year vet minimum with Boston, traded to Houston, then never picked up again. Kanter was going to be out the league whether he be outspoken or not. When you can't protect the paint as a 7-footer or space the floor, there's no place for Enes Freedom post 2022 NBA. There's absolutely no place for the undersized Montrezl Harrell in the modern game. A career 2020 regular season, won 6-man, lost heavy money after a dominant regular season with the Clippers that saw him average above 18.5 points at the time of his life before the bubble collapse, being only 6'7", bad rebounder, no perimeter skills, and a terrible defender left him completely exposed. When it came time for the second round, it was Doc Rivers' stubbornness who cared more about getting Tress right for the next round against the Lakers, but overlooking the dangerous Nuggets, a massive mistake resulted in brutal fatality of a collapse nobody will forget. When Zubac was getting in foul trouble, LA should have put Joakim Noah to contain Jokic for a bit instead of the undersized Harold who was getting abused out there, especially game 6. From blowing a 19-point lead, many then realized Tress only had one particular skill set, an energetic bench bucket getter, heavily dependent upon a running mate in Lou Williams. with the pick and roll. After his Clippers tenure, Harrell never found another reliable running mate to feed him the rock. Later backstabbed his teammates by signing 2 years $19 million with the Lakers, when still anticipated to get a bag worth at least $50 million, wanted to ring chase, having a player option to rebuild his value. All that went downhill. Turned down more money from Charlotte to join LA, became an absolute travesty, buried on the bench, even received a few DMPs in the playoffs, lashed out on Frank Vogel. All his value diminished overnight, lasted just 2 more seasons in the league afterwards, stints with Washington, Charlotte, and Philly, tore his ACL after 2023, never got his big money, that's all she wrote. As of 2026, Jalen Duren, with all the respect, looking just like a taller, more athletic version of Trez. He'll have the way better career, no doubt, but giving a big man massive money with a limited skill set and too many holes in their game will never end well. Possibly on this list come 2027, Keldon Johnson of San Antonio, maybe even a worse 6-man than Trez. His point average reduced to nearly half. He's not even a top 3 bench player on his team. With all the respect, never cracked double figures in any of the 5 finals games, 3.8 point average in the biggest stage. Robbing Jaime Jaquez for the award will forever be his biggest accomplishment. Played like he was looking like Orlando Magic Shawn Kemp out there.